Over the past couple of years, we have seen the development of multiple Star Wars TV shows by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, kicking off with The Mandalorian Season 1, and then Season 2, and then we got the Boba Fett series, and Joby Harold that worked on the Kenobi show that wasn't all that well received. So we've had a lot of hit and misses with all of these Star Wars shows, so to speak, for the franchise, and a lot of fans since then have really been remaining skeptical about the future of the franchise and what Disney is currently putting together. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, the one thing about Mark Hamill, alright, you guys may recall that he really was quite the flip-flopper when it came to really kind of telling the truth about his feelings about how Luke was used in the sequels. First, he would defend Rian Johnson, then he would defend the fans, then he would defend Rian again, and just a back-and-forth scenario. And when in reality, what was going on is that at the time, Disney was telling Mark Hamill what to say and what not to say, or what things to backtrack and what things to remain as is. So, as of late, Mark Hamill has been a lot more honest and direct to the fans. I really do have to give him credit for that, at the very minimum. But there is a lot of drama going on for one Star Wars show in particular that was supposed to actually involve Mark Hamill in the end, and how it actually could have created another Last Jedi situation in terms of Kathleen Kennedy doing the very wrong thing that fans never want to see. So let's tap into the specifics now. We already know that she's heavily in charge of shows like Skeleton Crew, The Acolyte, and given that Jon and Dave have now stepped in to fix some scenes, not the entirety of both shows, but some scenes, they are trying to prevent them both from being a total nightmare. Now, with many new Star Wars TV shows in the works under Disney and Lucasfilm, creators Jon and Dave Filoni have been throwing, of course, a lot of ideas, and have been through a very hard time in an attempt to fix some of the upcoming Star Wars shows. However, when it involves Mark Hamill, he was actually planned to appear in one of the shows to work on delivering Luke Skywalker in the upcoming Skeleton Crew series, that he most recently quit from and left the project for several reasons. The Kathleen Kennedy-led project, Skeleton Crew, has been having a very drama-driven and toxic-centered environment since 2 months ago, and Hamill was signed to appear as a cameo for Luke Skywalker to appear in the show. Now, he recently stepped down from working on this project as Hamill was very frustrated with how Kathleen Kennedy is using Luke's character in the upcoming show. Now, let me just pause here for a second. So, I don't know if you guys knew this, but Skeleton Crew is indeed a Mandoverse-era Star Wars series. So it does not take place in the High Republic. It does not take place in, different eras of the franchise that we have never seen before in live action. It is literally in the Mandoverse era. What part of the Mandoverse? We're not quite sure about that just yet. Does it take place before all the shows? We're not quite sure about that at all yet. However, Mark Hamill was supposed to actually play a large role in returning as Luke in Skeleton Crew. Now, recently he stepped down from this project and is no longer focusing on that project. And with Hamill now gone, Jon and Dave have agreed that they had to make a lot of changes to getting Luke Skywalker completely written out of Skeleton Crew, just to prevent him from getting involved in that show that's already tainted by Kathleen Kennedy. Now, the thing about this is that, yes, Ahsoka Tano will be in Skeleton Crew. This is all Jon and Dave's doing, and I really thank them for that. We're going to at least get a couple of cool cameos. And, guys, by the way, I've said this before, cameos are never the answer to making a show great. I'm sure that Jon and Dave know that they are doing this for a reason and for a purpose by putting in Ahsoka and exploring the new beyond and teasing something grand with Admiral Thrawn. Now, on top of this, alright, we already know that Skeleton Crew is going to be its own genre, alright? Each and every show is its own genre. So, Andor, for example, it's like a mystery or spy thriller, and Acolyte is more like a mystery thriller. But Skeleton Crew is going to have that Pirates of the Caribbean type of format. They're going to label it as like a fantasy quest type of genre. Now, on top of this too, something that John and Dave are very unhappy about as well, and surprisingly got permission from Disney higher-ups to now cut out Luke entirely after Mark Hamill walked off the project for Skeleton in order to prevent another backlash similar to The Last Jedi. Hamill stepped down since he wanted nothing to do with a show that is going to cause a ton of controversy and a divided fan base, something that Favreau and Filoni are looking to fix. The Luke scene that Kennedy was creating, was supposed to involve Luke teaching the children something very inaccurate about the Force that was going to break some of the lore by George Lucas. However, specifics are currently unclear at this time. Now, the scene was supposed to, like I say, involve something extremely inaccurate about the Force. And it just goes to show you that this is, once again, Kathleen Kennedy's doing, not really knowing what Star Wars is all about, kind of just giving us the wrong type of lore that makes no sense. In a real world, The Last Jedi situation, Luke would have never shut himself out from the Force. He would have never done that. That was basically Kennedy's reason why Luke never felt Han Solo's death. And it was a terrible way to do it, in my opinion. I thought it was horrible, because it comes off as Luke just, tuning out his friends and just ignoring reality. So, that brings us to the next scenario. What does this really mean for Mark Hamill and Luke Skywalker in Star Wars? Well, nothing really bad, actually. I mean, this is actually good news that he's not going to be involved with a tainted project by the hands of Kennedy. This does not mean that Mark Hamill is walking off of other projects. He is going to remain as is, working with John and Dave on Mando 4, and the upcoming, of course, Ahsoka Season 2 that they are currently pitching. They're also working on Star Wars Mandalore that's going to be announced next year. Keep your eyes open for that. A lot of great things are coming, and they really want to make sure that Luke is going to have, quite a bit of screen time in each and every series. So, overall, guys, I would like to hear what you have to say about this, because it is a very delicate situation. Skeleton Crew, by the way, is being led by John Watts, and John Watts is having a very tough time dealing with all the commands by Kennedy, because, let's face it, John Watts has, a pretty good, reputation over at Disney. He made the Spider-Man movies under Disney, which have performed very, very well at the box office, and feedback-wise, a lot of fans love them. I prefer the Tobey Maguire, the Sam Raimi trilogy, but that's just me. But there's no lying here that those movies have been highly successful, and John Watts is said to be very worried about destroying his reputation over Skeleton Crew and what this is going to turn out to be like. So, like I say, this is always a Kathleen Kennedy situation, and she's always causing some kind of conflict behind closed doors. So, yeah, I would like to hear what all of you guys have to say about this below in the comments, and overall, if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again. No.